6. Now Jericho was shut tightly because of the Israelites. No one was allowed to leave or enter. The Lord told Joshua, "See, I am about to defeat Jericho for you, along with its kings and its warriors. Have all the warriors march around the city one time. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry 7 ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times while the priests blow the horns. When you hear the signal from the ram's horns, have the whole army give a loud battle cry. Then the city wall will collapse and the warriors should charge straight ahead." So Joshua, son of Nun, summoned the priests and instructed them, "Pick up the Ark of the Covenant, and 7 priests must carry 7 ram's horns in front of the Ark of the Lord." And he told the army, "Move ahead and march around the city with armed troops going ahead of the Ark of the Lord." When Joshua gave the army its orders, the 7 priests carrying the 7 ram's horns before the Lord moved ahead and blew the horn as the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord followed behind. Armed troops marched ahead of the priests, blowing the horns, while the rear guard followed along behind the ark, blowing the ram's horns. Now Joshua had instructed the army, "Do not give a battle cry or raise your voices. Say nothing until the day I tell you. Give the battle cry. Then give the battle cry." So Joshua made sure they marched the ark of the Lord around the city one time. Then they went back to the city and spent the night there. Bright and early the next morning, Joshua had the priests pick up the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests carrying the 7 ram's horns before the ark of the Lord marched along, blowing their horns. Armed troops marched ahead of them, while the rear guard followed along behind the ark of the Lord, blowing ram's horns. They marched around the city one time on the 2nd day, then they returned to camp. They did this 6 days in all. On the 7th day, they went up and cracked at the crack of dawn and marched around the city as before. Only this time they marched around it 7 times. The 7th time around, the priest blew the ram's horn, and Joshua told the army, "Give a battle cry, for the Lord is handing the city over to you. The city and all that is in it must be set apart for the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and all who are with her in her house will live, because she hid the spies we sent. But be careful when you are setting apart the riches for God. If you take any of it, then you will make the Israelite camp subject to annihilation and cause of disaster. All the silver and the gold, as well as the bronze and the iron items, belong to the Lord. They must go into the Lord's treasury." The ram's horn sounded, and when the army heard the signal, they gave the loud battle cry. The wall collapsed, and the warriors charged straight ahead into the city and captured it. They annihilated with the sword everything that breathed in the city, including men and women, young and old, as well as cattle, sheep, and donkeys. Joshua told the 2 men who had spied on the land, "Enter the prostitute's house and bring out the woman and all who belong to her, as you promised her." So the young spies went and brought out Rahab, her father, mother, brothers, and all who belonged to her. They brought out her whole family and took them to the place outside the Israelite camp. But they burned the city and all that was in it, except for the silver, gold, and bronze and iron items they put in the treasury of the Lord's house. Yet Joshua spared Rahab the prostitute, her father's family, and all who belonged to her. She lives in Israel to this very day, because she hid the messengers Joshua sent to spy on Jericho. At that time, Joshua made this solemn declaration: The man who attempts to rebuild this city of Jericho will stand condemned before God. He will lose his firstborn son when he lays its foundation, and his youngest son when he erects its gates. The Lord was with Joshua, and he became famous throughout the land. Okay, so interesting here is that the city is to be totally devoted to God, and the totally devoted to God is devoted to God by destruction. So it is going to be destroyed to give it to God, because once it's destroyed, the only one that can possess it is God. So that's how you give it to God, with the exception of the silver, gold, bronze, and iron, which is going in the treasury. Iron seems a weird thing to go in the treasury to me, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's, more weapons and that kind of stuff. It's also 7 days are going to do this. There is a whole aspect of the totality of it. They're psychological warfare. They are totally terrifying the city. They are totally going to annihilate the city. And 7 being the number of totality. They march around once. They do it once a day. And on the 7th day, can you imagine? They've been doing this for 6 days, and you get to the 7th day, and all of a sudden, they went around a second time. They're going around a third time. I mean, the terror that is going to be havoc in your mind as this parade of warriors is ongoing, and you see it. It must be a devastating kind of thing to see. And then they do it 7 times on the 7th day. So they totally march around it for a total time. And then they go into the city where everything's supposed to be totally given over. So we have promise and we have fulfillment happening there. And then a warning from Joshua, don't rebuild this. This needs to stay as a memorial of destruction. This city needs to stay destroyed to show what God has done. So if you choose to rebuild it, here is a curse upon your firstborn son to die and your youngest son to die. So if you want to take that risk, you could rebuild it. All right, let's see. Chillwell, yeah, doing anything special for New Year? Yeah, nope, not me. Apparently, your entire New Year's Eve, you will be playing with your cat, or at least that is what she thinks. Zach Lee, welcome in, friend. Oh, wow. I'm looking at the camera on the lake. It's just a wall of white. Like, you can barely make out the difference between the horizon there and the dirty levels of it's snowing hard. It's snowing hard. I might pan the camera when we go back just to see if we can see something else. All right, any thoughts, any questions on Jericho and Joshua fit the battle of Jericho? Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho in his tiny little pocket. I always wondered why they said they fit the battle. He fought the battle. That's the, but anyway.